if you really believe that Jesus rose from the dead, even going back to the beginning of our discussion, you look at how Jesus treated the Old Testament, and then you have a model for how you might treat the Old Testament. It's not because of archaeological data that I do or don't accept certain things in the Old Testament. But with the resurrection, I think there's a lot of evidence for that. I'll just give a bit of it. There's a passage in 1 Corinthians 15, the first verses of that passage. It's written by Paul.
Is there any evidence outside of the Bible?
Just let me finish. There is some. Let me finish on this point. In that passage, many scholars have accepted it's a very early creed. Many who even disagree with the Christian faith date that to within the first couple of years of Jesus' death. 100 years ago, people would have answered this question by saying the resurrection was legendary development. One person told the next, that person told the next. It went down the line. By the time I got down there, we had a crazy story. You can't hold that anymore because we know from this text that many people, in the text it even says hundreds of people, were utterly convinced that they had spent time with Jesus after he was risen from the dead.
Look, a lot of people.
Quite a lot of people, hundreds. And there are accounts of appearances to individuals, to groups in different places at different times doing different things. The question is, how do you account for that? That's a question for everyone, not just for the Christian.
Lots of people think
and also how it caught on so quickly.
How it caught on so quickly. So Jesus' followers, they thought he was going to be an earthly king. When Jesus died, that should have been end of movement. There was no reason for that movement to continue. All of a sudden, you have the eruption of the Christian movement. How did that come about? Something happened. Historically, we can say something big happened. The Christian fills that gap with the resurrection. If that's not how you fill it, that's okay, but you have to fill it with something, and legendary development won't.
Francesca.
Do it.
It's extraordinary because what I find particularly difficult about Christian readings of the New Testament and other early Christian and Jewish texts that didn't make it into the New Testament for various reasons, what I find really difficult about those readings is this claim to exclusivity when it comes to the resurrection. Resurrection wasn't some kind of amazing new idea that just popped up in the time of Jesus. This is built on a model in which all sorts of deities, half human, half divine beings, resurrected from the dead, some even 3 days later. This is a recycling of religion. This is just an ancient mythic trope.
Not with a text that's that early with the man performing the sort of miracles who made the claims about his life.
Most date that text within a couple of years of Jesus.
And all would date it within his generation.
Can I delve
in his generation?
Can I